It was the kind of neighborhood people move into when they want peace tree-lined streets, perfectly trimmed lawns, identical mailboxes, and that quiet, almost artificial calm that made everything feel controlled. The kind of place where nothing ever seemed to go wrong, at least. That is what I thought that morning started like any other. I stepped outside with a cup of coffee in my hand, the sun just beginning to rise over the rooftops. The air was cool still and quiet, and sitting right there in my driveway was my ATV, black rugged with an orange guard on the front. It was not just a machine, it was something I had worked hard for. Late nights, extra shifts, saving every dollar I could. That ATV was not a toy. It was proof that hard work actually pays off. I walked around it, slowly checking it out like I always did. Tires, suspension, the frame, everything exactly how I left it. For a moment everything felt right. Then I heard her voice, sharp, loud, annoyed. "You cannot keep that here." I did not even have to turn around. I already knew who it was. The HOA president. She came marching across the street like she owned the entire neighborhood, bright pink safety vest, clipboard in hand, and that expression, the one that said she was not here to talk, she was here to control. I took a slow sip of my coffee before turning to face her. "It is on my property," I said calmly. "So yeah, I can." Her face tightened instantly. "That is not what the HOA guidelines say. Recreational vehicles are not allowed to be visible from the street." I glanced back at my ATV, then at her. "It is in my driveway," I replied, "not on the street. Not on your property." That should have been the end of it, but with people like her it never is. She stepped closer, lowering her voice slightly but somehow making it more aggressive. "You clearly do not understand how things work around here." I almost laughed. "Oh, I understand," I said. "I just do not agree." That is when everything shifted, because right at that moment someone else walked up, her daughter, blonde hair, dressed in all black, and carrying herself like she had never been told no a single day in her life. She looked at me once, then at the ATV and smirked. "Mom," she said casually, "why are you even arguing with him?" The HOA woman exhaled in frustration. "He refuses to follow the rules." Her daughter tilted her head slightly, studying the ATV like it was already hers. "I will handle it," she said. There was something in her tone that did not sit right with me before I could say anything. She walked straight past me, straight to my ATV, and then, without asking, without hesitation, she swung her leg over it and grabbed the handlebars. "Hey," I said sharply, "what do you think you are doing?" She did not even look at me. She just pressed the ignition. The engine roared to life for a second. I just stood there trying to process what I was seeing. She actually thought she could just take it. Like it was nothing, like I was nothing behind her. The HOA woman crossed her arms, watching with a smug little smile. That is when it hit me. This was not about rules. This was about control, about power, about showing me that in their world they could do whatever they wanted. I stepped forward. "Turn it off now." She finally looked at me, calm, confident, almost amused. "Relax," she said. "It is not a big deal." Not a big deal. That is what she called it. Taking my property. That is when I stopped arguing, stopped reacting, stopped playing into their game. Instead, I pulled out my phone and made one call. The engine kept running. She nudged the ATV forward slightly, like she was testing it, like she was enjoying it. Her mother just stood there completely unbothered. Neither of them thought there would be consequences, and honestly, that was their biggest mistake. It did not take long. A few minutes later, the flashing red and blue lights reflected off every house on the street. Police cars rolled in slowly, deliberately, and just like that, the entire energy changed. Neighbors started peeking through windows. A few stepped outside, pretending not to stare, but clearly watching everything. The officers stepped out of their vehicles, calm but alert. "What seems to be the problem here?" one of them asked. Before I could even speak, the HOA woman jumped in. "This man is violating HOA regulations and causing a disturbance." I raised a hand slightly. "She took my ATV," I said simply. That got their attention. Both officers turned toward the daughter, who was still sitting on it, still acting like she belonged there. "Is that true?" one officer asked. She shrugged. "It is just an ATV. She said I was moving it." The officer expression did not change. "Do you own it?" "No." "Do you have permission to use it?" She hesitated just for a second, but that was enough. I stepped forward and held up the keys in my hand. "It is mine," I said, "registered and insured." The second officer nodded slowly, already understanding where this was going. Meanwhile, the HOA woman started getting louder. "This is ridiculous. You are seriously making this into a police matter." The officer turned to her. "Ma'am, I am going to need you to lower your voice." That did not go over well. "You do not understand," she snapped. "This is our neighborhood. There are rules, and those rules," the officer interrupted calmly, "do not allow someone to take property that does not belong to them." That was the moment everything shifted. You could see it on the daughter's face, that tiny crack in her confidence, that flicker of realization, but it was too late. The first officer stepped closer. "I am going to need you to step off the vehicle." She did not move. "Seriously," she said. "You are arresting me over this." The officer did not raise his voice. "Step off the vehicle." Slowly, reluctantly she did. And the second her feet hit the ground, the handcuffs came out. "Wait, what are you doing?" she snapped, pulling her arm back slightly. But it did not matter. Within seconds, the cuffs clicked into place. The sound echoed louder than anything else on that street. Her mother completely lost it. "You cannot do this," she shouted. "Do you know who we are?" The officer did not even react, because out here that did not matter, not anymore. I stood there quietly watching everything unfold. No anger, no shouting, just watching, because sometimes the best response is not fighting back, it is letting reality do the work for you. They guided her toward the patrol car as she kept talking, her voice louder now, more desperate than confident. This is insane. I did not do anything wrong, but nobody was listening anymore. Because now it was not about her opinion, it was about the law. She was placed in the back seat, the door shutting with a heavy final sound, and just like that, it was over the same street that had felt so calm that morning now, felt completely different, quieter, heavier. The HOA woman stood there frozen. No more yelling, no more control, just silence. One of the officers walked back over to me and handed me the keys. "You are all set," he said. "It is yours?" I nodded. "Appreciate it." He gave a small nod and walked away. The flashing lights disappeared slowly as the police cars pulled off, taking her daughter with them. Neighbors went back inside, curtains closed, and within minutes, it was like nothing had ever happened, except it had. I walked back over to my ATV, running a hand along the handlebar. Same machine, same driveway, but something felt different. I swung my leg over it, turned the key, and the engine roared back to life. Loud, powerful, controlled, just the way it was supposed to be. As I pulled out slowly onto the street, I caught a glimpse of the HOA woman standing there watching. No anger this time, no shouting, just realization. I did not say anything, did not need to, because some lessons do not come from words, they come from consequences. And as I rode off down that quiet suburban street, one thought stayed with me the entire time. They thought they were untouchable, but the truth always catches up. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more real stories like this.